everyone, it's Mindy Totten at bodyworkmastery.com. Today I want to talk a little bit about a bone in the face called the vomer. Lots of folks have been asking me questions about the vomer lately, so I thought I'd just take a quick minute to either orient you or reorient you about the vomer and where it is. So here is a model of this beautiful, delicate bone called the vomer. Now obviously ours doesn't have the little peg on the end that attaches it to the rest of the skull, but if you look at it face on, you see it's just a teeny tiny little delicate bone. When I went to a dissection class and saw the vomer for myself, I couldn't believe it was almost translucent. It's so beautiful and delicate. And the vomer bone is right inside the center back here. In this skull model, it's kind of difficult to see, but in this skull model, it's right down here. It's painted black inside the nose. A lot of people make the mistake of calling the vomer the septum. You know, you'll have clients who come in and say, you know, I have a deviated septum, and is that my vomer? And it's a little confusing. The vomer is actually part of the nasal septum, along with the perpendicular plate of the ethmoid and some cartilage. But you can think of it, if you think of your septum, that's the area where the vomer is. So let's see if I can do this here. If I take this model here, this disarticulating skull, and I remove part of its facial bones, okay, now you're looking inside the skull, okay, and you can see the vomer right through here. Okay, this is the ethmoid, this is the vomer here. So if I show it to you straight on, you can get that same sense. Oh, okay, it's right above the maxilla, deep back behind there. But a mistake that many therapists have made recently, when you do there are various techniques to do with the vomer. So imagine here's the jaw, the mandible. You've taken the jaw off. They're not on the person. You haven't taken their jaw off. They've opened their mouth. On the model, you've taken the jaw off. Okay, the mandible off. And you put your finger right in through here, and your intention is to work with the vomer through the maxilla, right? So this is the top of the maxilla, and there's the vomer. The mistake that a lot of people make is they think that this tip right here, that's the only part of the vomer that you're working with. I invite you to go a little bit deeper. Look how far the vomer actually goes back here. So if your finger is inside the mouth, rather than just being at the tip, thinking that, allow your finger to glide back a little bit further so that in your intention you can touch even more of the vomer. It's a very, as I said, it's a very, very delicate bone, so you're not going to be jamming your finger up in there and trying to actually touch it. Okay, you're going through bones here, but with your intention, just visualize what you see right here. Visualize that whole piece. This whole thing is the vomer. And if you're working with it, you can work with a lot more than just the little point at the end. Now, in craniosacral therapy, we do several different techniques with the vomer, but the one that people have the most difficulty with is figuring out the craniosacral rhythm with the vomer. So here's our sphenoid. And if you can see, there's a little teeny pokey out part right here. You see that? It's called the rostrum of the sphenoid. And here's our vomer bone again. And the vomer fits right onto that rostrum there. Okay? So when the vomer rocks forward, when the sphenoid rocks forward in flexion, then the vomer rocks as well. So the person's laying down on the table, right? You've got the greater wings of the sphenoid with your, in this case, with my thumb and middle finger. And here's the vomer. So I've gone into the mouth, and as the sphenoid rocks towards the feet in flexion, the vomer rocks. As it rocks back in extension, it rocks. This is the motion. So what it looks like without things is this is the motion you're going for. Flexion, extension. Flexion, extension. I hope that gives you a little clearer view. I hope that wasn't too hard to see. If you can get a disarticulating skull and practice taking it apart and putting it together again, you'll be amazed at the quality and the change in your work, just how much more knowledge your hands will have. I invite you to really practice the mouth work. Don't be afraid of it. It's so helpful for people, and it can really, really elevate their healing. That whole avenue of expression, as we know, is so important. What I guess I'm trying to spit out is, please don't be afraid to try these techniques. Practice, practice, practice. Start practicing with skulls if you want to, or even with a stuffed bear, stuffed animal. That's what I use sometimes. Just, what is the motion? Practice, 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 and you are going to help your clients so much more. If you have any questions about the Vomer or anything else, the voracious Vomer, let me know. I am Mindy Totten at bodyworkmastery.com, as always, wishing you kindness and love and a marvelous journey.